Morning. Glad to see everybody here for the meeting this morning. We have some books, if anybody's interested. I have the general question and answer. I have a current one. I have an expired one. And I have a technician question and answer. If you know somebody that's studying for their license, they can borrow these. Okay? I don't have the extra anymore.
I had the extra for 2 years.
Have flyers for Tampa Bay Ham Fest in December. It's not too early to start thinking about it. So they're available if you want one. Let's go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Dwayne, N4WDH. Russ?
Russ, W9RUS from Travelers Rest. Eric, KC8UKV from Travelers Rest from Ohio.
Dennis, K0DKS, just moved here recently from Colorado.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
88 PUD, Larry, Zephyr Hills. K4 EEB from Spring Hill, Earl.
Darn it.
K3 DNC, Andrew from Brooksville.
And Ms. White. Okay.
Lost.
Lester Morse, K9LAR. I'm from Zephyr Hills.
Garnet from KN4UTR.
Lloyd, W4LJA, Wesley Chapel. Good morning, everyone.
Charlie, K2CMC, also from Wesley Chapel. SLG.
Captain Jack, KG4GTN.
Captain Jack.
Lake Iowa.
I'm John, KB4WGA. Did I break the camera?
And I'm me, AA4CB. Like you can forget me.
Does anybody want anything else?
And you are our famous one and only. There you go. Can't forget the most important person.
Okay, well, this is one of the rare opportunities where we have our four officers together. So, I am the president of the group. Chris is the vice president. Lloyd is the treasurer. And John is the secretary.
I'm responsible for getting this coffee. That's my job.
He takes credit for it.
What?
You take credit for it. Make sure it's hot.
So that way you can put a face to the name and know who the officers are. Okay, I have bumper stickers available if anybody's interested with the club logo, and the information has a QR code so that if somebody sees your car and they're interested in ham radio, they can scan the code and it'll take them right to our website. We have a VE session coming up on the 12th. That's next Tuesday. We have 2 people that are registered so far for the technician exam. If you want to take a test, let us know. You can send an email to testing@eparsonline.org, or you can just let one of us know. We do accept walk-ins, so if you decide Tuesday you want to take the extra test, come on down. There are a couple in here that could apply to.
Yeah.
On the sign-in sheet this month, I put a question on there to let us know what you would like to see as far as programs, or what you're currently most interested in ham radio. Our hobby is very diverse. We have everything from HF to microwave and everything in between. So if you have a particular interest that you would like to have us research and do a presentation on, let us know. And speaking of which, we're having a presentation by Charlie this morning on Parks on the Air. So we'll try to incorporate that into the few meetings we have in a year. We miss 3 months now. We miss February for Orlando. We miss December for Tampa Bay. And what's the other one that we don't have a meeting?
Yeah, December, that's all I can think of.
Out there somewhere, but so we only have like 9 meetings a year. So we would like to get some presentations out there to keep people current and learn new things. Somebody checked into the net the other day and he said the thing he likes about radio is there's always something more to learn. You don't get bored. You don't, you know, there's always something new coming along. Okay, I hope everybody had a great time at Hamcation in Orlando last month. We didn't have a meeting because of Hamcation, like I just said. And saw a lot of people over there, had a good time, learned a lot of things. We went to some seminars and got some new ideas for the future of the club. Give us some direction to go and get us some help to get there. Winter Field Day in January was the best time we've ever had. We had the most contacts, we had the most people there. The weather was great. While they were freezing up north and wherever, we were basking in the sunlight here. So the antennas worked well. We could have used a little bit more help setting up on Friday and Saturday morning and then tear down on Sunday. But other than that, it went real well. Just if you're planning on attending a field day either in January or in June, just keep in mind that somebody has to take everything down and take it home. So it's really helpful if we have people that can come in at the last minute and do that. We did have a couple of things that we realized we would like to have at the train station. One of them being Wi-Fi access, because our cell phones don't work worth a hoot there. So we're working on resolving that issue, getting some kind of access. And getting the logging computer set up in advance. We waited until the last minute and kind of delayed our start. Okay, treasurer's report, Lloyd.
Yes, sir. Good morning, W4LJA. They're new. Thank you for coming. We sure appreciate it. On our treasurer's report, one thing is I keep count of dues paid. So I kind of know how many people we have. So we have 42 active members as of the first of the month. I think we had 2 new people sign up since then. I haven't had them on the list yet, but I'll get that done. So that's really outstanding. So expenditures for February, we bought stamps, $65.75. The Florida annual report, that's a report that we have to file with the state of Florida each year. It's reoccurring, and that's for our articles of incorporation, and so that's submitted. And that's $61.25. We purchased a repeater controller for $504.95. It's $504.95. And then some decals, which Joanne mentioned earlier, and that was $87. So those were expenditures for the month. So in our checking account as of the end of the month is $1,131.36. So if anybody has any questions, always feel free to let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the club repeaters are up and running. We tried to do some improvements yesterday on the 2-meter machine at Saddlebrook, and didn't really do what we hoped it would do, but it is still on the air, so give it a try. Let us know what you think. It's 14529 with a 146.2 tone and a negative offset. So if you get a chance to try it out, it's down at the Saddlebrook Resort, which is 54 and I-75. So if you're within 5 miles of there, you should be able to hear it very well. The other repeaters are all online and working fine. John's been doing a good job keeping things up to date. We got a new controller for another machine down there so that we can operate it and keep announcements and things on it so that we can keep them up to date.
Are y'all ready?
Close the door.
We have 2 nets a week. We have a net on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on the VHF repeater at St. Leo, 14688. We're getting, how many check-ins, John? Around 20?
About 20, yeah, 20, 21, and it's been growing.
Yeah, the net's getting longer and we're getting more people checking in.
Been paying
The
people.
longer is my fault, I talk slow. and too much.
Well, that's so people can understand you. And we have Echolink connected to that machine for the Tuesday night net. So we're getting some stations from Oklahoma. Did we have somebody from Texas
We
this
had a
last week?
station from Texas, and
So-
then consistently we get Kentucky.
So we're getting some distance communications on our repeater, which is always nice to know what the weather is in Kentucky and other places, Oklahoma.
Yeah. In fact, we found out about those wildfires in Texas, or I did, through the net before it was ever on the
Yeah.
news.
Yeah, it was the first place I heard it too.
Yeah. So that was cool.
So it's good, keeping up to date on things. We need more net control operators. If anybody's interested in joining the ranks.
Larry
or
volunteered.
Even just to try it out once. You know, you can download the preamble from the website and just let Chris or John know that you want to get in there and do the net. And all you have to do is make a list of people who check in. That's basically it. And just have a little conversation with people. We also have a email for that, netcontrol@eparsonline.org, if you're interested in participating. We're down to 2 net controls, so having 2 nets a week and only 2 people running them, it means they're there all the time. So, after a while, people get burned out and they say, I don't want to do this anymore, and then we've got to find somebody else.
I agree. I volunteer on that.
Well,
He's sitting at home in Ridgeman and says he hits the repeater, no problem. Can't shut him up half the time, so might as well put him to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
He was talking to Lloyd on the tower Simplex yesterday at Saddlebrook.
He gets on the repeater just to talk to the guy down the road from him.
Of course, my dentist office is down there on 56 and Brisby Downs. And I heard y'all down there talking on there.
So you were a little closer than Bridge
Yeah,
Manor.
a little closer to Bridgeman.
Okay, the other net we have is a C4FM Fusion digital net on Thursday nights. And it is on our digital, I'm going to call it a network, even though we only have 2 repeaters. But the
More than one is the network.
4436 at St. Leo and the 443575 at Saddlebrook. We link them up through the 81609 room on the AZU network. And so you can go in either repeater and come out on both. So, and that net is also growing. I think we had about a dozen this last Thursday.
Yes, we did.
And so a lot of good information being exchanged. It gives you a chance to learn how to use your radio, figure out what the settings are, and how to get back in digital mode when when you get out, as Captain Jack realized a couple weeks ago. I was so proud of him because it was like, you're in analog, and we can't hear you. And then towards the end of the net, he comes in there full blast in digital. So he figured out which button to push to get back in digital. So it's a learning curve, but hopefully.
Sometimes it's a big learning curve. I've got into them. Where the hell did I get in here?
Okay, so that's it for the repeaters and for the nets. Like I said, our VE session is on Tuesday. And so that's all that I have, so I'm going to turn it over to Charlie and let him do his presentation on Parks on the Air. And we have a Parks on the Air event coming up in April. Yeah, that's April. So this is an introduction to what we're going to be doing there. We're gonna be at the Withlacoochee Trailhead, north of Dade City. We're gonna set up out there in the woods for a couple of days and, well, not continuously, but we're gonna set up Saturday and then come back on Sunday, hopefully. So,
When is this gonna be?
April,
April 6th and the 7th, 10 o'clock, which is basically right after breakfast here, to 6 p.m. the latest. Florida State Parks on the air.
okay, so go ahead, Charlie.
Chris, you want to go down all those tickets?
Yeah, you wanna hold that video, somebody? Video Charlie. He's standing. Smile. 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 See? Okay.
I'm gonna try. I'm Charlie, K2CMC. I've been a ham for about 24 years. I've been a ham wannabe since 1973. Sad story. I had already studied as a young teenager, and I had some Morse code under my belt, but my dad, I lived in New Jersey, my dad refused to take me to New York City to take the test. So I languished as a shortwave listener and a CBer for a long time. 2000, I finally got my ticket. I'm a general class, and I discovered Parks on the Air about 4 years ago. So I'll just give you a brief history of how Parks on the Air came to be. One for you. There was something back in 2016 called National Parks on the Air, and that became so popular that a bunch of guys said, we have to continue to do this. And a bunch of guys got together and they made a database and some other stuff, and they came up with Parks on the Air. And in 2017, they created the program, they made a website, and the rest is history. Today, there are 740,000 licensed hams in the United States, and on the Parks on the Air website, there's 500,000 call signs registered. Okay, so that's how popular. This started from zero, and now it's 500,000 people. Whether they're active or not, they've registered with Parks on the Air. So it has revitalized our hobby. It has basically passed it off to another generation. We have all kinds. We have XYLs, we have YLs, we have young kids. I myself do something to get young kids interested. I teach Ameritage for radio for the Scouts. I've got a couple under my belt that actually got their ticket. So it's only ones and twosies, but we do what we can. People say that the hobby's dying. I strongly disagree, because from my vantage point, this hobby is, at least the people in it are advocating and doing what they can to revitalize it and to make sure it gets passed on. Not only has Parks on the Air become so widely popular in this country, it's in 60 other countries now, including China just last year. Mainland China started a Parks on the Air program. Some of my achievements with Parks on the Air, I've been a hunter, that's how I started out. A hunter is somebody who chases or hunts. An activator who's at a park, calling CQ POTA, CQ Parks on the Air. That's basically how the exchange goes. It's very simple, it's informal. It's a signal report, it's your call sign. It's their signal report, call sign 73, some little niceties back and forth, and you're on your way. You go hunting for another activator. I have 2,600, almost 2,700 of those QSOs that I've done to date.
2,700?
2,700.
Wow.
In 4 years. That's a combination of CW, phone, and FTA. Mostly I do phone. I've only recently started to do CW, and I'll talk about that in a second. I talk to people, like I talked to one guy, to give you the scale of how Parks on the Air is. You could go with a small soda beam, CW transmitter, QRP, and put a tuner and a battery and a CW key, and go to a park, and you're operating, 5 watts, activating a park in 10 minutes, and you could be there for 2 hours. You need 10 contacts, that makes it official. This guy, his name is Kent, K7CAR, K7CAR, is up in the Nevada-Utah high desert, and he's like a prepper, he's a loner, he's an ex-military guy. He's actually a pretty good guy. He lives in a trailer, it's a mobile home, and he recently got a new one, new used to him. I've talked to him on FT8 350 times. He's got 60,000 parts on the air contacts. All he does is FT8. And the thing with him is he's always on at like 2300. So you score a contact, you wait until midnight GMT Zulu until it ticks over, and then you contact him again, so you get 2 contacts, one in one day and one in the other. Okay. So that's one of the ways I found, you know.
If he's in a high desert, he's in a good area.
He is. So he's good for contact.
High
you know?
desert is a great place.
And you know, and even the activators, they get to see, you know, they get to see my little dot light up in Florida on the FT8 map. He sees, you know, K2CMC. As soon as I throw my call out, boom, he comes right back. You know, even if there's people that are calling him, you know, again, because the activators know their hunters, the hunters know their activators. So it becomes like, you know, a song and dance. He knows when my dance card needs to be punched. So POTA is state parks, national parks, wildlife management areas, and they don't include like city parks, things like that. Okay, people are always asking, well, why can't I get my local, you know, XYZ park added? They just don't do that. You know, the database has got tens of thousands of parks in it already. State or national park recognized entities. Those entities all have a K number, a K 1023, for example. I don't remember what the Takuchis is. Okay, and now because there's so many parks that they've added, they're into the 10,000s of numbers. Instead of like, you know, 4 nines, now we've got K 10,025, right? Because they've grown so much. One of the things that's also happened in the last 2 years that I noticed, and also spawned me to do some other things, it is people that have been in the hobby for like as long as I have, or even longer, started to go back. And like I started out, in 1973, I would have been a novice that would have known code. I got my ticket, so I became a no code as an NO code technician. Okay, I upgraded to general, I was still no code. Well, over this last winter, I did have, you know, about that much CW. I went back and I took a crash course, like a boot camp for 2 months, 8 weeks, 16 sessions, and I learned CW. And I graduated from that darn class.
Excellent. Excellent.
So, and that was because of Parks on the Air. So instead of a no code, now I'm a KNOW person or operator that I know code. Okay? And I came out, I can operate between 10 and 12 words per minute. I'm not using a straight key because I got a carpal tunnel thing going on. I can't do up and down, but I can do left and right. I use a paddle. And I'm looking forward to Field Day and POTA as a CW operator. I've already got about a half a dozen contacts in POTA just in the last 3 weeks. That's how fresh this is. I'm really excited about CW. I want to be a CW op. And POTA is going to be, again, my entry point. I belong to the Long Island CW Club up in Long Island, New York, and they have 84 CW classes a week. Right now, 84, and that's all dedicated to beginner level all the way up to the most advanced. Why do I mention that? It's because Parks on the Air revitalized the interest in CW. There are thousands of operators in Parks on the Air that are learning or have learned CW in the last 2 years. I myself am now another one. So this Parks on the Air thing, it's a phenomenon, okay? A lot of you guys probably have heard about it. There's also Summits on the Air that kind of runs, you know, kind of, sort of. There's OTA beaches on the air. There's lighthouses on the air, ships, all kinds of stuff. And there's one that I decided I wasn't going to do, and that was SODA. You know what SODA stands for? Sit on my duff again. I'm not going to be part of it. I don't do any activations for SODA anymore. People don't have to get out and activate a park. I mean, that's a nice to have. A lot of us can't do that. We have physical, you know, things that get in the way. We think it's a big investment in equipment. It can and cannot be. Some guys, you know, like my buddy Ken, A7CAR, they outfit an entire RV. He runs 7 antennas. He's running multiple streams of FT8 on 2 or 3 different bands. He's just a madman. But that's his thing. That's his mojo. You know, more power to him. I couldn't sit watching a computer do FT8 for 60,000 contacts. I just couldn't do it. Automation's not allowed. There's got to be a control operator, just like, you know, regular ham radio protocol. I've got a couple of handouts. Did we distribute all the tickets?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I got a couple of things I'm going to give away, and as you win something, you're not going to be eligible, okay, for anything else. I've got a couple of ham radio related books, and I have 2 POTA books. So before I get into some more of the meat and potatoes of this, Dwayne,
Yes.
here's the karma. I've got an extra book, okay, and this is free, new to anyone. I still have yet to get my extra.
What? We let you in here?
What's that?
We let you in here?
So, you want me to just take the ticket or find some?
I got a volunteer.
Okay.
And she's sitting right here.
Pick that number and somebody's gonna take this book home today.
What number?
773.
773.
That's perfect.
Hey, man in the black shirt.
Go, sir. It'll be a test a month from now.
Or next week too.
Let's do something again. Let's do that again. Something really close, near and dear to my heart.
You were so good the first time, we're going to ask you to do it again.
Relationship building, bonding, so we don't get killed.
I know somebody now who's knows right much about grounding and bonding. Met him yesterday.
What's that number?
782.
782.
782?
Winner.
You have one? Well, here, you can take it. You can give it to Captain Jack. I just don't want it anymore, so.
I was 783. How about that?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And one more to round out this part of the program. The ARRL Guide to Antenna Tuners.
Pick one out.
We wanted to know even more about antenna tuners. Call that number.
We need a bigger jar.
783.
783. Captain Jack. Lucky Jack.
Call another number.
He's another one.
774.
774. There you go.
Perfect.
Hey,
Have a
good.
lovely day.
Perfect.
Thanks for coming.
That it for the drawing?
No,
Okay.
Perfect.
at the end of my presentation, I have 2 Parks on the Air books that somebody's going
Thank
on
you.
with today. There's people in this book that I've contacted, I know personally, there are pictures in here. In fact, we got a guy from Florida. All he does is Bill Brown, K4NYM. He does CW POTA. That's it. That's all he does. He's got an Elecraft KX, one of those fancy radios, and that's all he does is run 5 or 10 watt CW, and he's got thousands of contacts. He was at Hamcation, in fact, when they had it. I just have a couple of handouts. I'm not going to go through this whole sheet, but this shows you the how to get on the air with POTA, either as an activator or as a chaser. If I can just ask you to pass some of those around. There's a QR code that'll take you to the website. This is activator eccentric, but it also works for hunters. So it's all applicable. You want to take special
Dang, it's hot up in this mud.
Do we have air conditioning?
I have a hot flash in the house.
Jen?
There is. I'll talk
Jen?
about that in a second.
Yeah.
I did my first activation last year at Warner Boyce Park and it was a dual activation. It was part of Florida Parks on the Air, Florida State Parks on the Air, and also it was a POTA activation. And I had a buddy of mine using under my call sign as a dual op. I did phone and he operated CW, and we had a great day. We made about 43 contacts that day.
Come on in.
So that's my first official activation.
You're here for the meeting, right?
Where I broke the mold as a hunter. I have some information about that.
picture a lot of them.
See? So Garnet asked a question about logging POTA. There's a de facto kind of unwritten standard for POTA. Activators seem to like HAM-RS. It runs on an iPad and a whole bunch of different platforms. I've used it myself, but I've had it go south on me and I've lost contacts with it. So again, you know, user be warned, it's free, and with free you get headaches. So I would not use HAM-RS, but that's what a lot of people use. I use AC log. That's like the de facto standard. That's N3 FJP. They're the ones that wrote, 3 hams wrote AC log. It's good for just about any contest. You can customize it for POTA, and that's what I do as a hunter. Even though as a hunter I don't need to log my calls. I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, but I do as just a matter of course.
And what's that called?
It's called AC log. It's put out by N3 FJP.
Is that what we use for
Yes, sir.
field day? Yeah.
Same thing.
It'd be a good one to get.
It's about $60, and for that you get all of their other variants for like the CQSST and for all the other contests, including field day, where it'll set it up automatically to do the field day, you know, points, multipliers, and all of that. You can do the same thing with POTA. The nice part about being a hunter in POTA is that really you don't need to keep a log, because that is the activator's responsibility. When the activator's at a park, he or she is logging all the calls, okay? The RST is really meaningless, but the call, there was an exchange, it was a valid exchange, and then the time and the frequency. It's up to the activator to enter that into the POTA website, and they do that just by updating, uploading any log. You know, it's got to be an ADIF format or Cabrio or something like that. There's a specific format on the POTA website. It tells you all of that. So if you make a POTA contact, like I know somebody here, Captain Jack has, he's got probably dozens of POTA contacts as a hunter that he's made, but because he's never been into the POTA website, he can't see them. But there's been activators that have logged him as a POTA contact. So if and when he gets set up in the POTA system, he'll see all of that. That's how I saw it. I made an 80-meter contact 4 years ago, January 2020. I had no idea what it was. Somebody was calling CQ POTA on 80. I responded. We made the contact on FT8, and I never saw it again. But then in February, somebody told me about POTA. I created my own login, got set up, and then I see this one contact. I'm like, where did that come from? Check my own log. That was the guy a month before. So from then I was hooked. It was a lot of fun. If you want to keep your own log, you certainly can. I mean, most of us, you know, I'm in the habit of doing that. As an activator, I had to do it when I activated my first time last year. I uploaded those logs. It's a pretty simple and painless process. Really, that's about it. It's fun. Anybody from the minimal amount of equipment, you know, there's guys that throw up, you know, 18-foot, 24-foot poles, put a long wire, throw it up over a tree, bring all this stuff. I bring a small vertical that I can set up and take down. If you're QRP, you know, you can use a ham stick on a car. I have an FT891 in my car. I have an ATOS 120, a screwdriver antenna for the 891. I don't need a tuner on it. I can just drive up like in a parking lot of Withlacoochee. I did it for a field day, you know, waiting for guys to set up at the train station, and I was making POTA contacts from my car. I can do the same thing on a POTA site. I can do it at Withlacoochee, I can do it at Hillsborough River, Colts Creek, Colts Neck out in Lakeland, okay, right from a parking lot. I don't even have to get out of my car, okay? The biggest thing, it's gotta be run off of portable power, so of course I'm using the battery. I'll start the car once in a while, it's not cheap. You don't need big investment in batteries, you can use a 4 or 6 amp hour LiPo battery. You can use a marine battery to run a radio. It's basically field day every day. That's what POTA is. It's you testing your field chops of your emergency, what we were designed for, emergency communications. So it's field day, basically every day. We just don't think of it that way, but we're out doing POTA, it's like doing field day every day. Okay, whether you're doing it from home or you're doing it out in the field. And with that, I'm gonna open up the questions, but I wanna give away these 2 last books.
Pick a number. Pick a ticket. Giving away free stuff today. What ticket number you got?
875773.
773.
773. I've already won some.
You already won something? Pull another number, please.
Okay.
875796.
796.
Oh, that's my.
Hey, there you go.
Perfect.
There you go.
No cheating there.
No cheating.
Excellent. Very good. One more?
Yes.
One more. Young lady, thank you. Appreciate your help.
875774.
774. Okay, pull another number.
Roll another one.
How'd they get back in there?
I don't know. Somebody just told me.
875795. That's me. I
795 it is.
Choose another one.
Okay.
No, I get another one. Somebody else had that. 875784.
784.
It's right here.
Dwayne,
There you go.
you're very
Thank you.
Guess we had the lucky numbers.
Thank you.
I'm pretty much talked out. Maybe we can, I can show you more when we do FL POTA, Florida State Parks on the Air at the Withlacoochee Trail. I should be,
Is that the same place we've been activating?
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, is any place on that trail,
Yes.
considered?
I
Now,
do
would
have a
you use the
question.
same park number or whatever?
Yeah, same park number.
For the entire trail?
Yeah.
Because that thing runs a long way.
Yeah,
I have
it does.
ridden
I know.
my bike over it.
I've ridden it too, so I know.
If you, that's something I've been looking at, maybe putting a small rig on my bike.
I'll give you a, for instance, I'll get to your question in a second. If you operate, if you get there's multiples in POTA, where you can get multiple, it's considered multiple contacts, even though it's the same trail. If you work somebody down in Georgia on the Appalachian Trail, you get every state that the Appalachian Trail all the way to Maine goes through. The same thing with there's a trail across Canada. Yeah, you get like, it's called a 12-fer, you know, crazy, every province, you know, from that one activator. And you'll see one activation with like 12 other entries for the same guy, each individual park in the state where the trail runs. It's pretty cool. One second, Jack, we have a question right here.
So, you know, I'm at home tuning around on my 7100, and I hear people calling out, you know, CQ, POTA all the time.
Yes.
Are they interested in me answering them?
Absolutely they are. Activators want you to call them. An activator needs 10 confirmed, they need 10 exchanges to make it official. There's some activators that run QRP, there's some that run 100 watts, and they'll get 2 people answering them, or 5. And then that activation, they can upload it, but it's not official. You need 10 or more to make it official. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I caught a guy in California on a bicycle.
Yes. Yes.
On a bicycle
Yes.
with one of those antennas like you have. I don't know how in the world. What do you call it?
Text
Your-
beam.
Your outdoor antenna?
Which one,
The one on
the hex beam?
the hex beam, yeah.
I don't know where we get a hex beam on a
You
bicycle.
get a hex beam on a bicycle.
Big kickstand.
I've contacted Manpack Portable,
Yeah.
maritime portables, and also, aviation. I talked to a guy in a plane. He wasn't POTA, but,
Right, yeah.
after he contacted a POTA guy, I made sure
I've talked to a guy.
Yes.
He just clear as a bell. He was in St. Louis getting ready to land.
And the thing nice about POTA, it doesn't matter what your interest is, like I said, CW, being a hunter, being a chaser, or being an activator, QRP. You can, the world, like was said here, this hobby is, you're never gonna be bored in it. Okay, because whatever your interest, people make satellite contacts in POTA, QRP. If you're a paper chaser, there's paper awards. If you collect QSL cards, or you're into electronic QSLs, they've got all of that. Okay, I'm a DX chaser, and I've got 25 POTA DX contacts. My longest being Australia, American Samoa, and I also got Slovenia and Poland when they first came on about 2 years ago. That was on phone. All of those were phone, they were not FT8. Australia, it was the western side, 11,200 miles from my little 17-foot vertical to the other side of Australia. You know it. You know it. And there was a little echo in there too, because it was long.
I hit it one morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I got 5 contacts in Australia.
Yeah.
Just a matter of minutes.
It's amazing. That's the time of morning.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying for New Zealand, but I haven't heard any New Zealand people. Hawaii, I've done Hawaii probably a dozen
I
times.
can't get, for some reason, I'm having trouble getting the West
Before
Coast.
you're into it, they can't get Hawaii to say that right. I
Yeah.
hate Japan, I hate American Samoa.
Right.
I hit Japan, I hit all over, but I can't get, for some reason, I can't get Hawaii. Or California, I have a hard time getting California.
Any other questions?
So if you hear somebody CQ POTA, do you have to be POTA to answer it?
No.
Okay.
No. If you want to see that contact get logged, you need a POTA login on the system.
Otherwise, they're just helping them out.
Yes. The paper I passed out will should get you set up. Okay? There's 2 websites for POTA. It's parksontheair.com and POTA.app. Okay? And that's where everything starts. That's where all the magic will happen for you. There's a spot page, just like a DX spot. You can find activators, okay, and who the last hunter they spoke to. That also shows up in real time because they use the reverse beacon network. Activators, if they're in CW or digital mode, that information will come back to the POTA page. It'll get updated. If there's no other questions, thank you for your
Sir,
interest.
I have one question.
Okay, go on. I'm not going to go until I answer your
Their
question.
number, when you call in to talk to a POTA guy.
Yes.
And he gives the park number or something.
Yes.
Does that park number tell you where he is or
Yes,
anything?
absolutely. Okay, but if you're a smart hunter, you've already looked on the spot page. Okay, so you know what park he's at. The K number is there and also a link to the map. So you can see exactly where he is.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right.
If he's on the Trail of Tears in Oklahoma, for example.
Okay.
Okay, you'll see that. Okay?
So you can run anywhere from 2 or 3 watts to 1,000 watts,
Yes.
whatever you
Yes.
want to do.
If you want to be a crazy guy and run 1,000 watts out of a park, good luck. Yes, sir.
Hey, question for POTA contacts.
Yes.
Tell me about VHF, UHF POTA, since we do have a lot of techs here that don't get on 10 and want to get
Yes.
active.
But that's the part I forgot, Chris. You can do UHF, VHF, you can do satellite, POTA. Techs can get on 10 meters. There was just a push not long ago, a couple of months ago, late last year, where a couple of techs actually got on 10 meters. They made their 10 contacts on HF, using 10 meters, of course, their privileges. But if you want to go simplex to somebody, again, it's a tough go on VHF. But if you want to work VHF or UHF simplex, by all means, you cannot use a repeater. So don't think you can't just go to a park and then use a local repeater. That's not allowed. Okay? That's it, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, I just mentioned that we hope to get a GMRS repeater active this week over in Wesley Chapel. We put one up yesterday for testing, but we're going to get, we'll hopefully get the EPARS repeater up in Wesley Chapel this week.
Okay, a couple of other things that I remembered. We have an event that we're going to do at the New River Library in Wesley Chapel on April the 16th. It's in the evening. I think it's, you remember the times?
No, sir.
Lloyd?
I have to.
I think it's like 5 to 7 at night. We're just going to present a presentation on radio communications. We're going to cover everything from FRS to GMRS to ham radio, and just, you know, try to get people from the public to come in and learn something about what we do. I would like to have some of our members show up to kind of fill the audience so that we, you know, so if nobody shows up, at least there'll be somebody. Because the library is going to provide us with the space to do this, and they're going to put it on their calendar and advertise it for us. So I would like to, in the future, to continue doing this type of thing with ham radio and try to get more people interested. It's April the 16th. It's a Tuesday.
You'll be bringing it up again, correct?
Yes, yeah. I think it's like 5 to 7. I'm not sure. I should have wrote that down.
Send me the info so I can do a little promo on it and get it out there and drop it on the newspapers as well.
Okay.
So I have the correct info.
Good idea. Can you handle that, Lloyd? Okay. And then POTA, mark your calendars for our Parks on the Air event, April 6th and April 7th. That's the first weekend in April. So we'll go up there after breakfast on Saturday and make a bunch of contacts, hopefully more than 10, so it'll count. And I'm going to send this around again. I have some bumper stickers here. Somebody want to stake one? And please, put something over here, even if you just put FM analog. I need to know what people are interested in learning more about and what kind of presentations you would like to see for the club this year. Okay? That's it for me. Any questions?
Do you bring a gavel?
It's in my other bag.
Okay. That's it, sir?
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. And that's all, folks. Time to eat.